And happy Friday, or Saturday, or Sunday, depending when you're watching this. Welcome to a Stitchy podcast. Thank you for coming to join me. I wasn't able to do one last week because we had a family birthday. We were in London, but I've got quite a few things to show you this week that I've been working on. And my favourite thing that I've been doing so far this week is my little pouch. This little box pouch, I absolutely love it. It's made from... It was what I call a little collage slow stitch, where I started off with a plain piece of fabric and put lots of bits of fabric on the top and added bits and stitched bits on, and I just love it. If you had our Selvage Chronicles Arts and Crafts, you will probably recognise some of these fabrics. A couple of them are extra ones that I added in that I had sort of in my stash, but these are mainly from the Arts and Crafts, and that is a bit of Liberty. If you had our Selvage Chronicles New Year, you would have had a bit of that. And I just love doing it. It was so relaxing to sit and stitch and add all these little bits on. And you can see that I'm really into... I go through stages and phases of liking raw edges and then liking to turn things over and stitch them all down, and I'm in that phase at the moment, sort of applique mode. So that's my little pouch that I love, and I also think it was lovely to make something from the slow stitch that I knew would be really well used, as much as just the joy of making it, but the joy of having something. I made a little pin cushion. I tend to do that with every little project that I do. I make a little pin cushion because I have pin cushions everywhere in all my projects. So that has been a joy. I'm just going to put all these things away because otherwise I will wonder what I've done with them. So that's my little slow stitch pouch. Now the other thing that I've made, well, I'm still making actually, is my little needle case. And I loved making this too. I just love slow stitch at the moment. It's very calming and therapeutic, and I have loved making it. So I'm halfway through this. I did a little Patreon video on this, so where are my buttons? Bear with, I'm just getting my buttons. I actually stopped the last one because I couldn't make my mind up whether to go with this button or this one because it's polka dot, or this one which is a little handmade one. I think they're all absolutely lovely. That's why I did a little sari silk loop. And I also couldn't make my mind up what to use inside. And I also got a little tassel that I'd quite like to put on. I think I might stitch this on. I could put my scissors on there as well. Actually, that would be really nice. I'm doing a little bit of botanical dyeing, and that actually might be nice. That would take dye really well. I have to have a think about that. But that's another little slow stitch project. And yeah, I'm just enjoying them so much. And I've got some others to show you later that I'm in the process of doing. So they're my little slow stitch projects. Actually, speaking of the needle cases, I have had a couple of messages from people asking if we do kits for this, and we haven't done thus far. Mainly these things are put together from our Selvage Chronicles Stitch Club, but I do have some really gorgeous vintage quilt, which I think would make a lovely needle case kit, so I will try and put those together, everything you need to make a little needle case if you would like to. Now I'll show you some of the colourways that we've been doing that are in the shop now. I'll also show you the Floral Edit Minis Club that is currently being shipped. So if you have ordered that and you don't want sorry, I've got little birds in the garden that completely distracted me. They're so sweet. I've got a little robin, two little blue tits, a dunnock, and there's a little wren scrambling around And every now and then they flit across and they completely distract me. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to show you some of the new colourways that are in the shop and the Floral Edit Minis Club that you wouldn't have received yet because they're shipping now. So if you don't want the spoiler, don't watch the next little segment, because I'll show that first, and then you can look if you want to see the rest of the colourways and also some of the little bags that I've been making. So incoming spoiler, because this is a Floral Edit Minis Club, I'm going to show you because you wouldn't have received it yet. So this is our Floral Edit Minis Club number 2, which is Aquilegia and Fritillary. You know, with snake's head fritillary, beautiful little flowers that you have. And we've got plums and aubergines and sort of, oh, I love this colour, eucalyptus. And it's just the colours of Aquilegia and the fritillaries, as if it's a little bouquet. I actually said to Christopher, that colour, I would love a cardigan in that. So they're the minis, so you get 5 20-gram minis. If you ordered the 100-gram skein to go with it, this is your 100-gram skein, and you will actually have it presented as if it's a bouquet. I just grabbed this one to show you. And you will also get, can't find it now, there we are, a little lavender bag. And if you order the box pouch, this is your box pouch. So, hope you love it and love to see what you make with them. I know lots of you are doing Floral Edit blankets, which is so nice. Also, our Floral Edit number 1 Minis Club, which was hellebores and snowdrops, or snowdrops and hellebores, I can't remember which way around it was now. We just have not had time to dye any more of those up. We will do so. So if you did want to go back and collect that one because you've missed it, we will re-dye them, and I will let you know via newsletter or this podcast that they're going up. And if you order it with a future Floral Edit, I can pop it in the same parcel, so to save you some postage. So that's our Floral Edit number 2, Aquilegia and Fritillary, and we dyed up an extra few when we did it, so there are a few more in the shop now. So I hope you love that. And the new club, I should just say, is on sale. It's going on sale today, so by the time this video is up, it will probably be on sale, and that is Apple Blossom and Lilacs. So that's going to transition beautifully on from this, and that's in the shop now for you, Apple Blossom and Lilacs. So these are some of the colourways that are in the shop now. Move my pink cushion out of the way, although matchy matchy. This is vintage porcelain. We have done a vintage porcelain colourway before. I think we did a vintage porcelain sock set, but this is sort of slightly retweaked. But the theme for the last shop update was very much vintage, and as if you'd gone into the old attic and opened the trunk and you'd found all these lovely faded fabrics. This is what this is all about. So this is our vintage porcelain, and this is on our DK, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and that's 225 meters per 100 grams. And this is our superwash merino, this is our sock, and this is 425 meters, 100 grams. So that is vintage porcelain. And then this one is Tales from the Attic, which is mushrooms, oysters, greys, just that lovely muted, aged scrumptiousness. One of the colourways, actually, I haven't got, it's sold and I've sent them all out, so I don't have them, but we will try and restock that one. That was called the pink silk shawl, I think that one was called. This one is the party dress, which actually went with the pink silk shawl. It's as if you opened a trunk and you had these lovely old party dresses and the shawl that went with it, and imagined the party that someone had worn that to. So this is the party dress. This is on our sock base again, and you've got powdery pinks, apricots, and that lovely parchment vintage sort of mushroom colours there. And then this one is faded china, which, you know, you get those little rosebud patterns on old china, and it just gradually fades. So that's faded china. So they are the colourways in the shop. And there are some little vintage bags. Let me move these out. I'm going to move these out of the way. Well, I've just noticed my blouse, which is this is a boo bite when she used to nip us when she was a puppy. I've got these all over my clothes where I patched them. So these are the little slow stitch bags that I made. This one has got a Liberty lining, new, not vintage. This is a lovely old vintage cotton, and comes with a little lavender bag, little drawstring, and these are more notions pouches, or maybe you like to keep special bits and pieces in them. There's that one, this one, which has a lovely monogram. You can see the way I love turning things over and hand stitching them at the moment. And then the last one is this one, which uses again some of the same sort of fabrics from Selvage Chronicles Arts and Crafts. And that one has a plain back and slightly different lining. Two of them have different linings. So three little vintage. The exterior is vintage, the interior are new, but I think they look quite vintagey. So three little bags in shop 2. So my plans for the weekend, I'm going to do a little bit more of my nature journal. This is last year's and I'm still finishing off. I have started this year's, but this is last year's that I'm finishing off. And I have been doing this little section here, which I haven't finished stitching this. I've just started stitching this. I'm not quite sure how to do it yet. And I've just appliqued on a little flower and this quote. Now this poem is, oh, who's it by? John Clare. It's by John Clare and it's The Nightingale's Nest. And this is not a nightingale, but it doesn't matter. It was just the words that I wanted to get onto my nature journal. And this is part of it. The timid bird had left the hazel. And this is actually about him trying to find a nightingale's nest and to listen to the song and how the bird flies away if it's disturbed and sings somewhere else. And it says here, and at a distance hid to sing again, lost in a wilderness of listening leaves. Oh, that poem. If you have a chance to go and read that, The Nightingale's Nest by John Clare, it is so beautiful. So I've been doing this little bit, which I haven't finished yet. I've just written that on. I've got to do that. Needle's still threaded. And I have done a bit more of that. I think I've shown you most of the other things. I think you saw that last time. And seeing the snowdrop, this was last year's snowdrop, Fair Maids of February. What actually I've done, I've just noticed there's a little knot on there. Look, I always start with a waist knot. And that is a little knot that I haven't tied off. I always start with an embroidery. I have the slow stitch video, how I got started, has already been recorded. I've just got to put it together. But how I start with a main thing, and I'll show you what's coming up that I've got to do for my new one. But so I'm just putting the finishing touches to this one really, which I have loved. On my new one, I'll show you on my slow stitch video, but my new one is on a lovely old tablecloth that I found, and it fits perfectly into a 12 months of the year. Although I've also decided that I'm not going to fix myself to having in January what's in January. It's more just not so much a diary, just almost a homage to nature really. I'm going to try and be a bit freer with stitching what I want to stitch rather than in a way what I have to stitch what's in. Do you know what I mean? So this weekend I'm going to do a snowdrop in 2 ways and then decide which one I want to put on my journal. This one is going to be embroidered. This is me just trying out some greens. If you are one of our patrons, I think it's on the Robin tier and above, this has been added for you today so that you can print it out and transfer it and either use it as an embroidery, or there is a bigger one there if you wish to do it for an applique. So this is my snowdrop, which is going to be embroidered, and the slightly bigger one, I've got a collection of all my greens. I've just found a whole bundle of fabrics that I don't know how I'd love to know actually how you organise your fabrics, because I have big scraps, smaller scraps. So these I tend to do this a lot. I tend to, if I have a set of colours that I like, I would just put them together so that if I'm after greens, I think, oh, I've got a few little green bits. And then I've got teeny tiny scraps because I'm doing a little tiny sort of log cabin thing, quilt, which is a long process. But so now I've got tiny scraps, and then I've got vintage, which I like to keep separate really. And I've just got fabric everywhere, and I've just found some fabrics that I had that I've organised into colour. So I do colour, large bits, and then I've got colour, smaller bits, and then now I've got this vintage as well that I want to keep separate. I don't know. So how do you organise your fabrics? That would be really useful to know. So anyway, this is my little snowdrop, which I'm going to be doing, and as I said, that is been uploaded for you today onto Patreon, so you can stitch that if you wish. Oh, and these little ones, this was from our Advent. I'm going to stitch that just because I love it. Oh, and our little fox. Yeah, I'm going to stitch these. I'm not saying I'm going to do all of them this weekend, but I don't know if you do the same as I do. I wander around with a load of stuff that I think I want to do, and I see what I actually feel like doing. This will definitely get done. The other thing that I want to do is this little flower, which you would have had this in one of our nature journals last year. I cannot remember which one, but I've decided to do this in a mixture of different ways. I'm going to use, these are all my little scraps, my little Liberty scraps that have been collected together. These are from a pair of my favourite ever pyjamas. Love that fabric. And I'm going to put applique on some of the leaves. And then I'm going to stitch in the centre. And then I'm going to, I've got the, which I'm keeping in this because look, it chipped. Rather than throw it away, I'm keeping my yarns in there. Do you do that? I can't throw things away, so I think I'm going to put that in there. So this has got, I've got some green, some whites, some pinks, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some of the leaves. I'm going to try a bit of weaving, and that is very much inspired by Fleur Woods, who does the most amazing embroidery. She just blows my mind, her things, incredible. So she's inspired me, and I'm going to do a little bit of weaving and applique, and I might do just some ordinary, just some straight stitch on there as well, sort of satin stitch type of thing. Yeah, that's my plan. Stan, so they're my weekend plans. And oh, I wanted to show you a couple of books. Also, we want to try and get down to the allotment and do some gardening. I've got lots of seeds I want to plant. Actually, talking of colours as well, we are going to be putting together some little Selvage Chronicles colour packs of vintage and new. So if you just wanted some greens or you just wanted some blues, they're going to be in the shop soon. And I just wanted to show you my books. Look at this one. This is Mrs. Miniver. And actually, it was this cover that I was drawn to. I just thought this cover is so beautiful. And then I thought, Mrs. Miniver, that's great. And then look at the inscription. Now, I think that says Cecil Lyon from Elizabeth, Christmas 1939. So think of what the world was like then. It's lovely, it's quite charming, and I am Christmas shopping, that one. I'm back here using fabric as a bookmark, of course. So that's lovely. I couldn't believe it when I found that. And then there's another one here called God's Acre, which is a bit of an, just looks like a regular book. But look inside. You know what I mean, regular book. What I mean is it didn't seem like such a treasure when I first found it. It's got a beautiful cover. And Snake's Head Fritillary. This is what our mini set, I'll find it where it is now, was based on. And then look, things like this. I love that. So I would like to put some insects. Look at this, oak bush cricket. I'd like to put some insects on my nature journal, my Stitch nature journal. I actually used to sketch lots of things like and watercolour ladybirds and crickets back in the day. So anyway, God's Acre. Oh, that's lovely. Flowers and Animals of the Parish Churchyard. So I think that's it. Have I got anything else to tell you? Oh, there's a little flower. I haven't got it with me, but I'll put a picture in. There's another flower press going into the shop as well that my husband makes. He's from the Woodshed on Instagram, and that's going in the shop this evening as well. I think that's everything. I think I've nattered for quite long enough on this. Yeah. So Friday, do you have any plans for the weekend? I think we had quite a busy weekend last week, so I'm quite looking forward to a very calm weekend. I'm going to do some seed planting. Sweet peas, which I've left probably a bit too late. Well, I haven't left it too late, but I mean, I keep saying I'm going to do it and I haven't been doing it. So I'm definitely doing sweet peas, making a trip to the allotment. And I've also got, for my nature journal or country diary, I don't want to confuse that with our country diaries, so I don't know what to call my Stitch journal this year actually, but I've got a new little segment that I'm working on, which I will also be putting on Patreon, and hopefully a couple of walks. Yes. So wishing you a happy weekend and happy creating, whatever it is you love to do, and I will see you soon with the little slow stitch video, and then I shall see you next week as well.